Remember Me by Elope to the Sea on AO3. Episode 12, Chapter 8. Ka-chan, I love you. Deku's voice quivered with fear, filling the air of the afternoon schoolyard. Bakugo turned around to see his childhood friend with a red face and his hands clenched in a fist, eyes closed, too afraid to look at him directly in the eyes to be opened. From the other side of the sky, he could see the sun setting in the horizon. It was a perfect romantic setting, and Bakugo couldn't help snarl at the cliché scenario. What? He asked, turning to Izuku, his red eyes glaring at him. Repeat that. I love you, Ka-chan. Izuku said, this time, his voice a bit louder. Bakugo could identify the feeling coming from Izuku by his eyes alone, the way they widened and firmly held his, even when his whole body was trembling, with signs of nothing more than pure determination. This guy is serious, Bakugo thought. This wasn't a joke. Even he could tell that. Yet, that didn't stop the bubbling feeling crawling up his chest as he recognized the words. He was angry, irrationally angry. Stop shitting me, he said, turning away from Izuku. Go fuck with someone else if you want your face burnt. Ka-chan, I'm serious, Izuku insisted. It only served to make him more angry. I love you. And what do you want me to say? Bakugo asked back, this time shouting. Do you seriously think I want to date a quirkless Deku? Don't joke. But he tried to speak again. Shut up! Bakugo screamed. Deku stopped. Go away, Bakugo said once again, not daring to look Izuku in the eyes. Get lost, nerd. I don't want to see you again. He heard Izuku cry, and yet he didn't respond. He heard Izuku walk away, and he didn't turn back. He heard Izuku say, I love you, one last time, before vanishing, and he didn't move. He didn't even go the same way as always, since he didn't want to risk seeing Deku again. He didn't want to see him again. And he didn't. Next day, he wasn't at school. And next day, neither. And next day, neither. And next day, neither. And next day, and next day, and next day, next week, next month, next. He never saw Deku again. A few months later, he heard from the news that Izuku had killed himself, and the house was set in flames thanks to a villain. It was as if Izuku never existed. No one talked about him. There was no home where he could have lived. When he entered UA High School, he wondered if Deku had existed at all. Had Izuku killed himself after he rejected him? Was he ever even alive? Bakugo felt his own sanity begin to slip, and his own feeling eating themselves alive. Izuku. Deku. He wanted him to come back. Deku. He wanted to go back in time and give him a proper answer, not just go away. He wanted to say, I don't. Bakugo said. His wide tightened around Izuku's shoulders, keeping him from getting nearer. His eyes were staring straight into Izuku's own green. He said it again, this time louder. I don't love you. That's my answer. Izuku stared at him. Bakugo was hoping him to transfer into his nightmares, into everything he feared in that day, and probably even more. Guilt ate him. Couldn't bring himself to show so. A smile. Izuku smiled. I know, he answered. I always knew, Ka-chan. Bakugo tried to ignore the way Izuku's hands trembled against his chest. He also tried to ignore the way his green eyes began to fill with tears. He turned his head to the other direction, too guilty to look at Izuku. Let me go, he asked, eyes cast to the side. They need me. I need you too, Deku said. Bakugo swallowed, a knot forming in his throat. This was not the time to feel sad, he told himself. I need you so much. You don't, Bakugo said. Slowly he tried to get up, only to be slammed back into the ground. He cursed. Deku looked small, but he definitely wasn't weak. Or not as weak as he looked. I do, Deku insisted. If not, The bad guys will come back. Izuku. And at that moment, Izuku looked up directly into Bakugo's eyes. It wasn't normal for him to call out his name. He stared at red eyes that made him uneasy, made him feel vulnerable, made him feel useless. You are the bad guys. Bakugo waited until Izuku's grip of his shirt loosened before speaking again. Let me go. They need me. I can't do that, Kachan. Deku said, slowly getting up. I love you. I don't. Bakugo said again. Deku wasn't smiling. His eyes were filled with tears. As he walked forward, his gaze never leaving Bakugo. The tiniest of smiles, barely there. Bakugo wondered if it was his mind playing tricks, appearing in Deku's face as he said, I know, Kachan. I know. With one swift movement, Deku took a syringe and inserted it in Bakugo's neck. Deku's mind continued to run numbers as he continued the pressing points and places where the blood streamed flowed closer to the skin. He was secretly glad Ochako had bought him those medical books with what little she had saved that time they had stolen from civilians. In his hand, Bakugo went limp, and Deku raised his head. Todoroki, he said out loud, sending shivers down Shoto's spine. He was still looking through the door. I know you're there. If you want to kill me, then... I don't want to kill you. Todoroki said, stepping forward. I want to talk. There's nothing to talk about, Izuku said, turning away from Todoroki. I just want to... How weird. What was it that I wanted? Izuku? Todoroki asked. Deku let out a nervous laugh. I can't remember, Deku said, his laugh slowly turning into a sob. What was it that I wanted? You don't have to do this, Todoroki said. I have to, Deku answered. He turned towards Todoroki. I can't remember why, but I need to do this. He couldn't remember. What was there before the hero lovers? What was there before the League of Villains? What was there before Kachan? As he stared at Todoroki, the only person to look at him with no hesitation, no pity, no guilt. Ah, what was there before the convenience store? You should run, Deku said, unsure of himself, but not willing to let it show in his face. I'm not leaving, Todoroki answered. Deku stared. Yui has received an alert that we're here, Deku said. Students, heroes, teachers, everyone will be here to see what's happened. And when they come here... Kaboom! Deku gestured an explosion with his hands, his face unmoving. A bomb will go off, killing everyone in 15-meter radius from the building. I already told Iida and Ochako. I'm giving you the option to run away. You want to kill the heroes, Todoroki said out loud. I told you. Heroes? Deku asked, tilting his head to the side. Those aren't heroes. They were the ones who killed my mom. Izuku. Todoroki tried to call, stepping forward. Don't call me that! Deku screamed, stepping back. I'm Deku! Useless Deku! Leave me alone! You're Izuku. Todoroki stepped forward. You told me your name is Izuku. I never told you that. Did I? Deku looked at Todoroki, wide-eyed. You're Deku. A voice inside of his head told him. You fight heroes. You're a villain. Yeah, Deku said out loud. I'm a villain. Villain Deku. Right. Yes, the voice said. Villain Deku. Izuku, Todoroki called. You're not a villain, Izuku. You told me you don't want to hurt anyone. You're lying! Deku screamed. The inside of his head was hurting, and something painful exploded inside his chest. I'm Deku! I was always Deku! Izuku. Izuku? A pretty woman called his name. Her eyes were green, wide and welcoming, her arms stretched open, while her smile seemed to making feel better, safer. The soft smile of crimson filled his senses, and slowly he tried to reach her. "Mom!" He called for her. His arms were stretched towards her, but no matter how much he tried, he couldn't grab her. She drifted away, the closer he got. A whimper escaped his throat. "Mom, please!" "Izuku?" She called again. Her smile was still there. She continued to drift away, and Deku felt his body stop moving. "Mom!" He screamed for her. She couldn't stop drifting away. "Mom!" "Izuku," she said again, her voice still calm, still soft, like everything was okay. "You can save me, Izuku." "I'll save you!" he screamed. Behind his mother, flames started bursting, his eyes filled with tears. "Mom, I'll save you!" "Izuku," she said. She continued to move towards the flyer. Her hair caught fire. "We can be together, Izuku." "I'll save you, Mom!" He yelled in front of him. The flames began licking her mother's face. "Mom!" "Izuku," she said, smile unmoving. The fire began burning her skin, turning from pale red. Blisters began bubbling in her eyes, and her hands turned to charcoal. Izuku couldn't move. "I love you, Izuku." "Mom!" he screamed. Her skin was gone, and instead, she could see the red muscles showing through. Little by little, the muscles began melting too, and there was left a pile of ashes. He tried to call towards what was left of his mother, but his body couldn't move. "Mom!" he sobbed. Tears fell to the ground as he looked helplessly at her. "I'll save you, Mom." "Don't call me that!" Deku glared. "I'm tired of this. I'm tired of having to live every day with those voices in my head telling me to give up, that I can't be a hero. I want everyone to shut up." Todoroki took a step backwards. He could see how lost Izuku was. His eyes didn't have the same childish gleam to them they had once. "I'll make them shut up!" Izuku screamed, holding his ears, in an attempt to mute the things surrounding him. "With Kachan, things will be silent again. He keeps everything quiet. He keeps the voices away. He's my hero. He'll come and save me." Todoroki looked at Bakugo on the floor. He seriously doubted that. Next chapter is the last chapter. Chapter 10 will be an epilogue, so be prepared. What? What? There's 11 chapters. You're lying to me. You're lying to me. Okay, chapter 9 is called Good Kid. All you get are bad grades, and a bump rad, and a bad rep, and a good smack, and no friends, and no hope, and no mom. She's taken away. So this is the last formal chapter of Thing. It's been a wild ride, and hold on. Okay, we're gonna start deciphering what the fuck just happened. What the fuck? What the absolute lie? What the fuck? That's all I'm gonna say. Just what the fuck? Just what? What the fuck? Okay. I actually have no words other than, is this not a Todobaku Deku? As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.